Do you want to know how to get your CCT? Well, today I've got Jodie Blackadder-Weinstein to come and speak to us about how to get that. She's going to talk us through how you're going to get your CCT. Let's take enhance your primary care and learning. If this is the first time we're meeting, I'm Dr. Gandalf of EGP Learning, where I look at supporting you with technology-enhanced primary care and learning. And in this episode, we're fortunate to have Jodie here with us to talk us about getting your CCT. A real challenge for AITs when you finish training and then hopefully go on to practicing primary care. So Jodie, tell us about getting your CCT and what it is first of all, because some people may not know.
Yeah, so when you're going through GP training, there's this thing called CCT kind of looming at the end of it.
Yeah.
And basically it's your certificate that shows you've got all the competences to complete your training. So once you've been doing your eportfolio for all of GP training, you'll tick all the boxes, and hopefully by your final ARCP, which is usually around this time of year actually, or about 4 to 6 weeks before your due CCT, all your TPDs and whoever does your ARCP panel will look through all your evidence from all of your GP training and all your previous reports, and they'll issue you an outcome 6.
Okay.
So that's different from what you'll have seen in all your other ARCPs. So don't panic, it's a good thing. It means instead of saying that you're ready to go into the next year, they're saying that you're ready to CCT, that you've fulfilled the criteria, and that's it, you're going to CCT.
Good news, yeah.
Yeah, so, good news. Time for parties.
So that normally happens around about June, July, if I remember rightly?
So it varies from area to area. Your supervisor should know when it is, because they'll have to get all your educational supervisor report done, usually a couple of weeks before your ARCP panel. If there's been any issues like through the year, or if I know I had to resit my AKT exam, so if there's been any like resit stuff like that, you might get asked to go to your ARCP panel meeting. Don't panic if you do, it's sometimes just to clarify something, and it shouldn't be a surprise, it's usually expected if you know there's something that's been going on. So you might need to go to your meeting. Otherwise, you're not present at your ARCP meeting. It's all done by the sort of your locality, and then once that's done, you'll get an email to say that you've passed or there's something else you need to do, what your outcome is, and that will then lead on to the further bits that you need to do.
Okay, so normally most trainees, typically for the summer kind of block, will start first Wednesday of August, isn't it? So I think this year it's the 3rd of August. Don't hold me to that. I need to but then I guess, how do we work back from that? So we know you've got your panel and you hopefully get your outcome 6. That means that you're going to be a GP. But there are other things, so there's clearly paperwork and stuff that needs to be done. So where do people go with that? Yeah,
so the first thing you'll get is, it can be up to 6 months before you're actually due to CCT, is an email from the GMC. So they'll send you an email saying you're due to be CCTing within the next 6 months, start the process rolling, and then you just click on that email. So that make sure your email address with the GMC is correct, because that's the one they'll send it to. So you'll get that email, click on it, takes you through the GMC website, and it does a bit of pre-registration stuff. So it'll make sure your details are correct, how you're going to pay, all of that sort of stuff. And then once you've clicked on that, the next thing that will come through is on the eportfolio. So once you've had your ARCP, so that could be quite a few weeks later, once you've had your ARCP and you'll get an email saying well done or whatever, you go into your portfolio and there's a button there that will say apply for CCT. Now I know eportfolio is being updated and there are some changes, so if it's not in the eportfolio itself, you'll get an emailed link that you can click on.
Okay.
But you will get a link that will take you through to, first of all, registering with the RCGP, so saying that's their part kind of done in recommending you for GP training, for finishing GP training, and then you'll get another link to go through to the GMC, and that will be to actually finish all your details, again confirm that your payments and everything are going to be made, and then start that process, or restart that process, so that actually all of your information is complete and ready for your CCT date.
Okay, so a good tip for those people watching this video now. So we're in May, and if you're due to finish in August, check your emails to see if you've got that one from the GMC, and make sure you click through at that point, and then as soon as you get your outcome 6, click through your portfolio to see where that takes you in terms of progressing further.
Exactly.
Cool. So do that at the end of watching this video.
Yes, please do. The other thing to do when you finish watching this video is just go into the performers list. Okay, so if you just Google performers list, put that in the search bar, it will take you through to the national performers list. Now, as a registrar, I hope you're already on there as a registrar. If you're not, get in touch straight away with your supervisor and with your local office. So you should be on there as a registrar. And then when you CCT, it will change your status. So you should see, It's a little box on that web page after your name with your status. So if you're a registrar, it'll say that now. And when you CCT, that should update to say that you're fully qualified. If it doesn't do that, there'll be a contact detail there for you. We're moving to a national body, so that'll either be a national email or it'll say who your local office is to get in touch with. And then all the things that they really need is just a confirmation of your ARCP that you have been recommended, and then once you've CCT'd your CCT certificate. So if that hasn't been updated, just keep checking it, then you might need to contact them and make sure it's all updated properly for you.
Okay, so contact the GMC to make sure you're on the list and stuff. Sort out your outcome 6 and then performance list.
Yeah, just make sure you're on it.
Yeah.
As long as you're on it now as a registrar, once you get your registration as from provisional to fully licensed as an independent practitioner, then the performance list should be updated. But keep an eye on it just to see if you need to give any more information. For example, I got I'm still battling with the performance list because I got married and changed my name, and some of my documents were in one name, some were in another name. So that rigmarole, if you have gone through that during training, or we all love to buy houses, get married, all that sort of stuff towards the end of training, please kind of make sure you've kept everyone up to date, the GMC red list and your performers list, that you have made sure you've got the same names and it all kind of matches. Otherwise it will be an issue. 4 years later I'm still trying to get some of that resolved. So learn from my mistake and try and get it changed when you're CCTing. Okay.
So you've gone through the performers list process. Is there any particular documentation you need to provide at that point?
So, because it's been changed now, when we went through, it was all done by a local office and you had to drop your paperwork in. It's now being moved to a national performers list, and it is a name now, but some of it's still being administrated locally. So I understand that you shouldn't have to do anything further with the performance list. Once you've had your ARCP, it counts as your appraisal for that year, so it kind of resets the appraisal revalidation process. And so that should then mean that on the performers list you're updated. But do check, because it is an evolving process with it at the moment.
Okay, so hopefully we've bettered the system that I had to deal with, and I think that you had to deal with it, where effectively you had a space of about 4 days in the year where you had to basically take time off to go to the local office and take physical proof of all your documentation, including your indemnity, and that was a challenge for us, because you can't actually be indemnified to work as a GP until you've got your GMC letter saying that you're a GP, which comes about a week before you're meant to start. So
it's meant to all be drawn through from the GMC now.
Perfect.
So, but of course we know that our systems don't always all talk to each other as well as they should do, so I would keep an eye on it.
Okay, cool. So we've got your GMC stuff done, you've got your panel done, you've got your performers list done. Indemnity?
Yeah, so hopefully you know that there's been a big change in indemnity this year. There's been a lot of work behind the scenes by the BMA and RCGP to get a better deal for us indemnity. So now you'll get state indemnity, but that doesn't mean that you're completely covered. You still need to get personal professional indemnity. So just basically give the MDU, you can stay with the same one that you've already got if you're happy, or you can shop around, see what works best for you, but find out from your MDU, from your their indemnity organisation, MDO rather, to make sure they're up to date, that you are going to be CCTing and what jobs you're going to be doing. If you don't know what you're going to be doing, then just be honest with them. If you don't know if you might just be doing some sessional work, so locuming, if you're going to be going into a salaried role, if you don't know yet, just let them know, and you can update them as often as you need to, and they'll reissue your statement and quote depending on how you change your work. The important thing is to make sure you let them know of any changes, because if something does happen and they look back and they haven't been updated, that can be a real problem. So just keep them up to date.
Yeah, definite top tip, particularly in the wake of NHS resolutions taking over the clinical cover of your indemnity. Speak to your indemnity company, get that updated as quick as possible, and if things do change, particularly number of sessions, type of sessions you're doing, type of work you're doing, you need to keep them updated, because you're right, you don't want to be left uncovered and have that annoying situation and painful situation of 3 years down the line them turn around saying we're not covering you for this, and then you're stuck, I'm afraid.
I mean, the good thing is that now indemnity is a lot less than we've been paying for the last few years. So it's, well, fingers crossed, if it's all gone to plan in the negotiations, it is a win for us as GPs.
Definitely. I mean, as an example, mine's gone down from 9,000 a year to just under 1,000. That's a significant shift as a partner, and that's all I do. I don't do any out of hours, nothing else, a bit of high risk apart from being a partner. and things. So particularly for lots of GPs, NHS resolutions and that negotiation by the BMA, RCGP and all the other organisations has been a massive win, and hopefully will continue to be beneficial for all of you guys out there. Cool, so we've got GMC, panel, performers list, indemnity.
Yeah.
Anything else people need to be aware of?
Yeah, so you need to think about what you want to be part of sort of post-CCT as well. So most of us are members of the college and members of BMA sort of during our training. Have a think about what you want to remain a member of sort of beyond that. And start to kind of think about the costs involved with CCTing. So I had literally no idea. This is why I got involved in the first 5 stuff, because I was so clueless when I was CCTing. So I ended up going into my overdraft when I finished my training, thinking I'm being a grown-up, because I just didn't think about the fact that we have to pay fees to qualify. Yeah. So to be added to the GP register, you have to pay, I think it's £490 with the to the GMC, so that's a fee you have to pay as part of your CCT. So make sure you've got that set aside.
And just to be clear, that's in addition to your GMC registration fee. So that is an additional fee that you have to pay.
Yeah, so it's like a one-off cost to be added to the register. And then once you've paid that one-off cost, you can set up how you're going to pay your GMC fee for the year, which is the same price, whether you're going to do direct debit or one lump sum, whatever works for you. But just be aware there's that additional fee to be added to the register as a GP.
Okay. Any other fees people need to be aware of?
So if you're going to be joining the BMA, RCGP, obviously have a look at what that would cost you. When you first CCT, you get £100 off your RCGP membership, and then you do pay less your first year, depending on when you kind of CCT. So most of us, I actually CCT'd in April just because I was out of sync, but because it's financial year funding, then if you're CCTing in August or September, you pay a reduced amount for the rest of that year. So it might be worth kind of seeing how you get on for the first year, and then reassessing whether you want to stay involved or what's important to you really from beyond that.
Definitely. And don't forget that all those membership fees are tax deductible as well.
Oh, yeah.
So they are a lot cheaper than they actually look.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't forget to claim that.
It's quite nice because you forget almost when you're paying. I paid by direct debit, and so you kind of pay throughout the year, and then you do your tax claims, and you're like, oh yeah, I get some of this money back.
Exactly.
And it's really easy when you look at the initial outlays. Like personally, I would recommend everyone to be a member of the BMA and RCGP. The BMA, because I've seen some of the work that they have done for us around contracts, and especially the changes we're having at the moment. Yeah. And the RCGP, I've chosen to stay involved because there is an opportunity to kind of make a bit of a difference to your local community, being your faculty. If you're not involved in that stuff, I can see why people struggle to justify paying the fees, but for me as a support group and sort of having a network of people who are kind of interested in general practice and having ideas, being in the faculty in the first 5 has actually been really beneficial for me.
Definitely, and we're going to cover more of that in a future video, so make sure you stay tuned to watch that after this one if you want to, but definitely being part of those organisations can be really beneficial. Have had a bit of heat lately, both of those organisations, and in particular people always raise the question, is the fee valued to what you get? First question I always tell people is it depends what value you want from them, but definitely BMA from the contract point of view, and with the new GP contract, and particularly if you're looking at being a PCN director, so myself included in that, they've created a whole extra set of resources for PCNs and that kind of stuff. The RCGP, in terms of pastoral support, I still think that they're better than any other organisation out there at this moment in time in offering that, and definitely within your own faculty, and as I said, we'll cover that in another video coming up shortly. So I guess we've covered various different things. We've covered the GMC stuff, we've covered your panels, performers list, indemnity, organisations to be part of afterwards. Yeah. Anything else that I think we need to mention? I
think that for the actual logistics of just getting through CCT, that's probably the main stuff. And then we're going to do another session looking at actually the sort of beyond CCT and what comes next. So for the main sort of flow chart of what you need to get done now, I think we've covered it. Cool. It's all highlighted, so if you just Google RCGP CCT, there's a flow chart document, which I didn't even know existed until we were researching for this. The website's not the easiest to negotiate, to navigate, so it is better just going through Google search. But if you do that search, you'll see there's a PDF document, and it's got this flow chart there for you, when to expect contact, what you need to do next. So I would definitely say have a look at that. And put some little markers in your diary of when things should be happening. Yeah. So if you haven't received a GMC email, 6 weeks before you're due to CCT, to at least start the process. If you don't know when your ARCP panel date is, it's worth kind of just finding those things out now and putting the dates in your diary so you've got that reminder. So I'm very last minute, so you don't want to get to 2 weeks before your CCT date and realise, oh damn, I've not actually made sure my name's correct on the performers list, stuff like that.
Yeah. Because don't forget, if your name's not correct, if you're not on that performance list, you cannot work, point blank, and that obviously may impact any agreements you've got with practices in terms of work that you're committed to. Don't want to ruin your reputation on that if you're a locum, or obviously if you're salaried or partner, yeah, you may not actually be able to work if you're not on the performance list, so it is a very important thing that you get on that list appropriately and as quickly as possible. Cool. So some of those links, we'll put them in the show notes, guys, so if you want to check them out, we'll have those ready for you and things. And I'd like to thank Jodie for joining us for this video. As always, guys, if you've got any questions, comments, feel free to contact me on Twitter at drgandor52 or at UGP Learning. Leave a comment down below if you found this useful, and if you've got your own little tips of how to get your CCT any quicker, easier, that kind of stuff, or your own stories about it, feel free to put those in the comments as well. And as always, guys, if you want to contact us, feel free to do so on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, yeah, on all the social media channels, aren't we, and things. And as always, keep tech enhancing your primary care and learning. See you later.
See you later.